Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the ultimate suburban house in Minecraft. Let's take a look inside. This house has a comfy foyer area with a library, a fireplace, and a drinks brewing area. We have a kitchen, dining room, living room, access to an indoor garden, and a garage. As we head upstairs, we have an interesting hallway at the bottom and top of the stairs. Upstairs we have one bedroom, two bedrooms. Just kidding, we have 3 bedrooms, and also a bathroom. Need I say more? I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you're new around here, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you do enjoy this tutorial, and click that little bell next to the subscription button to ensure that you get all my stuff sent directly to your sub box. But without any further ado, let's get started. Now, just before we start building, everybody, here are all of the materials that we will need to make our ultimate suburban house. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these materials and enough of them as well. The amount of space required to make the build, including all of the gardens and the wall and all of that stuff that you saw at the beginning of the video, is a 56 by 50 block area represented by the white concrete grid on the ground. Do feel free to make this grid in your world if you feel as though it will help you out. And that's it. Pause the video if you have to, gather all that stuff, make sure you got enough of it, make sure that you got enough room to make it, make sure you're ready to live in the ultimatest suburban houses that you have ever lived in. And once you are, we can begin. Step 1, my suburbs renovating friends. Come all the way over to the front right hand corner of your grid. That is, if you've made the grid. If not, it's no big deal, just hang in there with us one moment. So the first thing we want to do from this corner is count backwards by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We then want to count left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the starting position. This is where we start building. Begin by placing 4 grey concretes on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extend the 4th grey concrete left by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Join that block down to the ground and continue extending across by an additional 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Join down to the ground. Take the block that hit the ground and extend it left, and then forwards by 2. 1, 2. Extend that second block upwards by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Extend it backwards, aka to the right how we're looking at it, by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what we then want to do is create 6 upright diagonals using your grey concrete. So that'll look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We then want to go right by 1 and then do 5 bottom right diagonals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like that. We can actually sort of leave that as it is. And we want to take a sideways view as we're looking at the house now. You want to take the original row of 4 grey concrete that we placed earlier and you want to extend it backwards by 2 rows. So this 4th block, 1, 2. You then want to extend up by 1 and then to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can then extend down to the ground. Extend that block that hit the ground towards you, and then place 9 grey concretes on top of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, we want to do 2 things with this 9th block. Number 1, we want to extend it inwards. You want to extend it inwards and connect it to where a wall would be. So it wants to line up with all of these diagonal blocks for the roof. So that gives you a bit of an idea that that is going to be a wall later on. But additionally, we want to take this 9th block and we want to extend it backwards, funnily enough, also by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like this. You can even extend this 9th block all the way down to the ground if you like, because we are making a frame for our house at the moment, so it's quite nice to establish some shapes. And once you have connected it down to the ground, I want you to take the 9th block once more and extend it to the right by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You'll find it lines up quite nicely here. You can even extend this 12th block forwards if you like, and you can join it all together. There's no harm in doing that, and once again, it establishes the sort of shape that we are trying to make here. Well, you also want to take this 12th block and you want to extend it all the way down, like this, all the way down to the ground. Like so. That's perfect. You want to take the block that hit the ground and you want to place 2 upside down quartz stairs in front of it. So that will be 1 and 2. And then you want to place a grey concrete. You want to place 2 upside down quartz stairs going right of the grey concrete. 1, 2. And then place a grey concrete. 2 regular quartz stairs. Grey concrete. 2 upside down quartz stairs. Grey concrete. I want you to extend that grey concrete to the right, but here's something weird that we kind of have to do here, is we want to extend this grey concrete backwards, okay, and we want to join it all the way up to where this diagonal grey concrete here connects to the roof. So we want to extend this block up and across like this, if that makes sense. So you can see that we have created, again, a tad little bit more of that frame. What we can then do, ladies and gentlemen, is we can just fill in underneath this row here, probably about 3 or so rows, like 1, 2, 3, and also just underneath this part. So just the space in between this long row connected down to the ground and the row that we just created. And underneath this row, you can place 2 white stained glass pane, grey concrete, 2 glass block, grey concrete, 2 glass pane, and then a grey concrete like this. And then you want to extend these down by 3, that's 1, 2, 3, and then you can join across like this. So we're just setting the scene here, and also join the grey concretes down to the what we now have as a ground, and also extend the glass down 1 row 2, so on the left and right sides extend the glass down, place upside down quartz stairs underneath the glass, and a couple of oak wood doors just in the center there, and you can see that that is going to be quite a nice feature of the house right here. This is actually going to be a balcony area. We can work on all of that a little bit later on, or we can do it now actually, really. I'm in the mood to do it now. I want you to take all of these grey concrete rows that we kind of like have at the base here, and I want you to add 2 more rows on top of them. So that's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then across the entire row here, like 1, 2 on top of this long row. I also want you to join this long row of grey concrete here across. So the area that is extending across wants to be as high as the rest of the area that we have kind of just filled in a little bit. I'm going to fill this porch area in here using some block of quartz. I'm going to create a doorway. The doorway is going to be where on the opposite end of where the double quartz stairs is, and you can, if you like, refloor that and place a double oak door. You can place a little bit of glass perhaps above the door if you want, or you can even create like a whole frame around the door. It doesn't really matter as long as you're quite happy with how the door will look. I'm going to raise up the area for this back wall, just surrounding the doors. And if you like, you can even, by the way, add in some windows. It completely depends what you want to be on the other side of this wall. For me, I'm having a kitchen here, and I don't think that these windows will really mess with the interior, so you can add windows. The windows for this house are almost all the same, 2 upside down quartz stairs together with a little bit of glass. They're the kind of repeatable windows that we're using. In addition to this, we do want to place a little bit of the frame for the porch. So for the frame of the porch, we're going to raise up these grey concretes an additional row all the way around the side here. And I just want you to place a little bit of quartz stairs around the top, like this, just on the front mainly, like so. And I want you to take this end quartz stair that's kind of just hanging off the end here, and I want you to extend a diagonal row of quartz stairs upwards until it hits the back of the house, like that, or at least where that wall would be. As a matter of fact, you can even just fill in this wall in particular if you like. This wall is going to be the back of the garage. You're more than welcome to add windows and such into the back of the garage. However, I know what the interior for mine is going to be, so I'm not going to add windows. But that doesn't mean that you can't. As a matter of fact, if you did want to, I mean, you're more than welcome to, say, like add a rather large window if you wanted to. You could add like a big window in the middle. You could add like a little bit of a frame around it if you wanted to. You could place like a couple of, like a quartz stairs on the end with like a little bit of, you could add a little bit of flair to it. You could, do any matter of things to the window if you wanted to. But I'm going to be fixing that a little bit later for myself. I just want to illustrate the fact that just because you see a blank wall in my build, if you know that you're able to add a window there for yourself, you're more than welcome to add or make any alterations that would make yourself happy. So, what else do we want to do here? Well, it would be beneficial for us to connect this right wall here upwards a little bit. So the point of having a door here, ladies and gentlemen, is so that we can have a bit of a balcony area. So the balcony only wants to come out about as far as here, so where the quartz stairs connects to this wall. So if you can imagine, we're going to have, say, we'll have like a block of quartz here on this side, and it will come all the way over to this other side where this wall is, and we'll have like another block of quartz stopper. And we'll have like glass in between. So we just have to create a walkway out onto the balcony. This is going to be made out of block of quartz, just like this. And we can probably come just one row further. And then you can place some glass pane in between the 2 quartz rows. Now, I know that looks very complicated, but hopefully you can see how we arrived at this, if nothing else. In addition to this, we are going to have a little roof that kind of overhangs here a bit, and the roof is going to have an outer part, which is quartz slab, that's going to extend all the way from this top right hand corner here, and it's actually going to join at a right angle to the large, somewhat empty part of the house there. So I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an idea of what this back part is actually going to look like. And not only that, we're also going to place some grey concrete just above each of these windows here as well. We're going to decorate the porch using some glass pane. On all of the upside down quartz stairs, we're placing the white stained glass pane, but on the actual 2 where you're going to be walking, we're not going to interfere with those. I feel as though that we should probably leave this part of the build, which, by the way, is a particularly complicated part of the build, alone now. We can mess about with this a little bit more once we start adding in more roof. So I want you to come all the way over to the right side of the build, and I want you to focus on this grey concrete block next to the porch. Extend it towards you by 3 rows using grey concrete. 1, 2, 3. We're then going to extend it across the back of the build by quite a bit. It's going to be 23 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Fantastic. You can raise this area up by 2. 1, 2, just like this. Extend that second block forwards by 2. So that's going to be 1, 2. I then want you to do 7 upright diagonals coming towards the front of the build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're then going to extend forwards by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can join this 9th block all the way down to the ground so that we can make a little bit more of the frame. I want you to then extend the bottom of the row, so the block that hit the ground, to the right by 7. So this is across the front of the build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want you to then extend forwards by 4. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. We're then going to extend up by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just like this. And then I want you to place from this 9th block coming towards the back, we're going to do 6 up left diagonals. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Extend backwards 1. And then do 5 bottom left diagonals. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is perfect, ladies and gentlemen. So the sort of shape that we're looking for should look quite like this. And you might be able to tell that those diagonals coincide with the ones that we placed earlier. The roof is a bit peculiar and you'll find all of that out a little bit later on. But I do want to make the rest of the frame of the house before we start getting into details, as we kind of got a little bit lost earlier, I think, in the finer details of the back. I want you to take the very bottom of the row that we just extended upwards and all of that, and I want you to extend it across by 2. 1, 2. We're then going to place 3 upside down quartz stairs in front. 1, 2, 3. Stick a grey concrete on the end. Place 2 upside down quartz stairs going right. 1, 2. Grey concrete. 2 upside down stairs. 1, 2. Grey concrete. 4 regular stairs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grey concrete. 2 upside down stairs. 1, 2. Grey concrete. And then you can extend this grey concrete to separate it a little bit upwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. And by the way, you can do this to all of these single grey concretes that we have around the upside down quartz stairs and the regular quartz stairs as well. What's important is that we now extend this last row that we placed here. We extend it to the right by 1. You can extend the whole row if you like. And then we extend it forwards by 1 as well, just at the bottom. We can then extend this row upwards and across like this to where we very first started. So to give you an idea, we'll have something which should look like that. And you can see how these things kind of come full circle a little bit. In addition to this, I want you to just move over to the left a bit and take this row that has all of the diagonals attached to it. And you can extend it all the way over to the right. So we're extending it all the way over here to the right, and we're going to join it to the row that we just extended upwards. So you can see how this all joins together rather nicely. What else can we do? Well, you want to take not the block that joins to the corner here, but to the one to the left of it, like here. I want you to place 2 grey concretes on top of each other. And then take the bottom concrete and extend it to the left by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Extend that 11th block upwards. Extending in from both sides, I want you to place 2 white stained glass panes and then 2 grey concretes in order to create a pattern. It will be a very simple pattern and a balanced pattern by the time you reach the center. Now that we have done this, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to think about. Believe it or not, that is the frame of the house pretty much complete. We have a lot of joining together, a lot of walls, a lot of windows, a lot of things to do in these categories. So we're going to tackle some of the finer details, and then we'll start choosing where we want to add windows and such. So the first thing that I want to do now that we have kind of established the frame of the house is work our way over to where we pretty much started. These two areas here that kind of look like a table or a sideways E or staples, these are garages. We're going to use polished andesite stairs stacked behind the grey concrete rows, leaving a gap of 2 in the middle of the top row of stairs, with white stained glass blocks in between to simulate garage doors. Now that we have successfully done that, we can start filling in areas a bit. As a matter of fact, I want to fill in this entire wall area here. So extending from where the left of the garages are, all the way to the back, I want to create a solid grey concrete wall. Not only will this help you out in dividing up the house, because it's quite a dauntless task. If you've just got a big empty house, no walls, no anything, then it can be a little bit strange. It can be a little bit hard to figure out where you should put certain rooms, what rooms will function as what. It's a lot easier if you already have it divided up in such a way for you. It kind of makes you focus on what you might be able to put in what size room. So now that we have filled in this specific part of the house, I also want to fill in this wall. This connecting wall above and behind the garages, I'm just going to completely fill in with grey concrete. That doesn't mean that it's going to stay this way, but I just want to fill it in because, again, context is important and finding out what actually functions as what is important. In addition to this, we're going to be filling in the right side of these walls here as well. So the right side of the garages. No windows on this specific sides, or these specific sides I should say, because again, we're only keeping cars in here. If you like, you can add windows all the way around, you can add doorways, you can add entrances, you can add all sorts of things. I just haven't designed it in that particular way. I like the garage to be a bit more private. I like it to be a bit darker and a bit more just private in general. It's kind of like a cool feeling area. So now that we have kind of a blank canvas to work off of, the next thing that we're going to do is add a little roof and kind of like a balcony patio area. So we're going to begin by placing quartz slabs around the top of the garage. So on the front of the top of the garage, extending 1 block to the right like this, we're going to extend this slab inwards. And then we're going to place, I do believe it's only going to be about 2 rows of quartz stairs, like 1 and 2, coming up and backwards like this. The quartz stairs hanging off of the end here. I'm going to stick a grey concrete here, an upside down quartz stairs here, and probably another upside down quartz stairs like this. And then I'm going to fill the top of this in using block of quartz, exactly here. So it's going to sit on top of the grey concrete outline, and I'm going to create an area that we are able to walk around on, like this. Just like that. So that is absolutely perfect. We're going to extend this stair here across towards the back, and I am going to add a row of white stained glass pane. I think I'm going to join it, I guess I'll join it here. It's just going to sit around the top of the outside of the garage area. So you can see it's actually quite a cool feature. Which leaves us this, like, what is this area going to be? Well, I like the idea of having windows here. So where we have this area separated by glass, I'm going to leave a gap of 2 and then destroy 2. I'm going to leave a gap of 3 and then destroy 2. So that way we will have windows evenly distributed. I'm going to place 2 upside down quartz stairs in the empty gaps that we've created. I'm going to destroy a 2x2 block gap above the quartz stairs, and I'm going to fill it in with glass pane. If you like, you're able to decorate the rest of this area using plants and sunbeds and all sorts of stuff, but I'm leaving it like this for now. The left side here is going to be a bedroom, and you're going to be able to access this patio slash balcony area from the bedroom. So we have to have a double door. The double door can maybe even start like here, just like one row away from the glass, and we can have like a double window kind of like here, or maybe even we could just have a single window. Maybe we could just have something like this, so like a double door, and maybe just like a little bit of glass just to the right of it, if we wanted to, just so that it's a bit different. We're going to fill this area here up above using some grey concrete. So this is going to be where the roof is. The roof is quite complex on this one, I'm not going to lie to you, so it's going to take quite a bit of building. But you can see that we've really made this area look nice. If you want to make it just a tad bit nicer, you'll break into the inside of the garage and you'll add some grey concrete next to and around the stairs. This will stop you seeing into the house from the outside the garage, and it will just look a little bit nicer and cleaner. We have to have a roof for this part above where we were just building. We're going to do this by adding some quartz slabs around the top of this square area here. It's going to extend around the top, and it will actually join to the little tiny roof that we were making a bit earlier on, like this. We're going to put a little bit of a foundation in for the roof. So let me explain to you, first of all, that this roof it's actually two-toned. So half of the roof is made out of andesite and half of the roof is made out of block of quartz. It's not half, but they're the two materials that we're using. So the center part of the roof is made out of andesite. So the parts that will actually like sit on top and in between the grey concrete areas of the roof are going to be andesite. We're going to have quartz on the edge of the roof. So the part that overhangs and on certain parts of the roof, they're going to be made purely out of quartz. So you can kind of see how this roof is going to go a little bit, and we can even extend the andesite down a bit, just like this, and we have to, this is a whole different monster all by itself, but you can kind of see how this is, how it all sort of flows together, right? So andesite is the main part of the roof and quartz is a bit of an accent. So we're going to use quartz stairs for the top part of this flat roof, and it's going to kind of just sit on top of and around this part here, and it's going to join together to the overhanging part of this roof that is quartz, if that makes sense. We can then fill the top of this in using quartz block. As I mentioned, the roof is two-tone, and the roof it's very strange because it uses a lot of different techniques. There's flat parts, there's parts where we only use quartz, there's parts where it joins together in different styles, so it's a very particular, difficult roof to actually explain, and it was a difficult roof to kind of design and put together. So for instance, like this part here where we have this overhanging balcony area, we're going to have a row of polished andesite stairs that like extends across like this, right, atop the balcony. And then we're going to fill the top of this area in using some andesite slab. So you can see it's a stark contrast to the little flat raised roof that we have just made. So now that we have done that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we've done a great job of decorating this right side part of the house. We're going to continue and we're going to fill in this large, long back portion of the house. We'll be bouncing back and forth between different parts because as we do one part, it makes it easier to do another. You guys get the idea. So this long back part of the house, we have a long row of grey concrete. This row of grey concrete actually wants 2 additional rows added on top of it, and it wants to be added literally directly on top of the entire shape that we've made, like so. And it's actually going to have a long flat roof, so you can extend these quartz stairs here that we placed earlier, you can extend these all the way across, overhang the side of the build by 1, and then you can just place, in total it will be 3 rows of quartz slabs like this, will overhang this area that we have made. So it will look a little something like that. We're going to make some windows inside of this. So if we start from the left and we just dig out 2, leave 2, dig out 2, leave 2. It should eventually make a fairly nice pattern in the wall. Whoops, we destroyed a little bit too much there. We should eventually end up with like quite a nice little pattern in the wall. You leave 2. You leave 2. I forgot my own advice. So you'll see that we have like a nice even set of windows. We're going to fill all of these in with white stained glass paint, like this. That's perfect. And that is actually going to be kind of like an indoor garden. It's going to be kind of like a greenhouse that isn't green. So now that we have done that, we're going to work our way up onto this side, and we're going to place some polished andesite stairs along the diagonal roof here. So the polished andesite stairs are going to come all the way along the side, and you can imagine that the quartz stairs are going to hang off of the andesite stairs like this. That's perfect. We're going to fill this entire side in here. Now, you do have options to add windows. I wouldn't add windows to the lower part of the house because that's where we're going to have like, there's going to be stairs and all sorts of fun stuff in the lower part of the house. But this is a nice big blank wall. You are more than welcome to add any details that you may see fit, but I'd recommend adding them after you've built the interior. So as a matter of fact, it's kind of hard to show you where the windows would actually go without the interior being here, so I'm not going to just randomly add them based on my interior. I want you to add windows after you have actually spent some time with the inside and figured out what certain parts of your house are going to do. We can preemptively add some upside down quartz stairs overhanging this. We can place them underneath this overhanging row of quartz like this. I think that we're also going to fill in this wall now as well. So on the front of the build where we have this wall that kind of connects back to the main part of the house, we're just going to fill it in with grey concrete. This is going to have a balcony on it, and it's going to have some windows and some other stuff as well. But we couldn't add those until we actually filled in the wall, and we can't do the roofs until we've also filled in the wall. I'm also going to fill this wall in here that adjoins to the front of the house as well, like this, and we can extend this grey concrete backwards, and it can join underneath, and we can fill in this roof part of the house too. So it can end up looking like that. So that's looking pretty good. You can see that we've got all of that filled in now. So we're actually going to extend the quartz stairs upwards an additional row, like this. And it's actually a little bit strange because the quartz stairs are going to wrap around. Actually, you know what? We won't extend it up an additional row. We'll just extend this row around like this. So we'll take that sideways quartz stairs. We won't raise it any higher, and we'll just take it and extend it and wrap it around. This upper part here is all going to be flat, and it can be made using quartz slabs. The quartz slabs are going to sit like this. So if you can imagine, this is going to be the overhanging stairs. So we have the andesite stairs sat on top of the actual grey concrete frame. We'll have the quartz stairs running down. We're going to have a quartz block to join them all together, but we're going to fill the top of this flat part of the roof in using just quartz slabs. Now, you can use andesite as well, like you can kind of keep to the build, but I like the idea of some parts being different than others, because I think that diversity really does make quite a bit of difference, and I think it does look a little bit better, like this. So the entire purpose of this area, as I mentioned, it's kind of like a balcony area a little bit. So we're going to start from underneath the connecting quartz stairs here. We're going to take this grey concrete, we're going to move left by 2, so 1, 2, destroy, and the next 2. We're going to destroy a row underneath and fill this in using glass pane. So this is going to be a window. We're going to use a little bit of grey concrete here. Going to leave a gap of 1 underneath the window, and we're just going to join the corners of the house together. So we're going to create this sort of shape, but we don't want to keep it. We want to round off the edges a little bit. So if you do something very similar to this, maybe like this, just to kind of like make it a little bit rounder. and then you place some quartz slab around the side, I think it will look quite good. So you can see it connects to a different point on the front than it does the back, which is important, diversity. And we can place a little bit of white stained glass pane as well. If you wanted to, we could even use a different material for this in light grey concrete. So now we've kind of like figured out the shape of it, it's a lot easier for us to just say like, why don't we try and see what this looks like in light grey rather than just dark grey. And I think it might look quite good. We'll have to see though. So I do quite like that. I think that that looks good, and it is a bit different, so very important. We have to create an entrance. The entrance is very simple. You can simply just make a double door here. Now that we've got rid of our doors, we find that we need them again, which is funny. It's kind of typical. So we can just have like a double doorway there. You could even add a little bit of glass block above them if you wanted to. You could add plants and all sorts. Speaking of windows and plants and all that fun stuff, by the way, all the way down here, we want another window. The window is going to sit one row above the ground, and it's going to sit right in the middle of this area. 2 upside down quartz stairs in the middle with a double glass portion just right above like this. And later on we'll fill that in with a little bit of greenery. What we're now going to do is fill in this rather large portion of the house using grey concrete. So we can join the bottom together here, and then here, and then we can join upwards like this. And we can just have like a double row of grey concrete here on the side. We want to have all of this filled in. That'll allow us to apply details to the porch area and the rest of it. So now you can kind of see, isn't it a bit, it's so much easier sometimes when you just add a few blocks. It kind of solidifies, like all of those walls, they kind of looked a little bit weird, but now that we've added a couple of rows, it makes sense. So I'm going to begin just by filling in this area here. I'm just going to fill in this big wall. There are windows. There's actually 3 of them at least on the second story, and there is about as many as we want to add just where the porch is. They'll actually be kind of like parallel to where the upside down quartz stairs are for the porch area, so you can kind of get a grasp of where these things are going to go. We're going to fill the porch in using some block of quartz like this, a few also rows of it. You can even alter the porch a bit so that this can also be block of quartz. We're going to add white stained glass pane on top of the upside down quartz stairs portions like this. There is going to be a double doorway leading us into the house. This correlates with where the 2 center stairs are, where we have the row of 4 regular quartz stairs, so double door. This door in particular is a bit fancier, so we're going to be placing just a load of glass around it. We're keeping it simple, keeping it fancy. You are able to add windows anywhere that you have the glass pane. So for instance, I should say, you can have windows here, gap of 1, windows here, and you can have windows here, and you can see where those are in relation to the upside down quartz stairs. And they're made in the same way as all of the other windows would be as well. So it's just going to be the same design because it's a nice design, it's an easy design, it's a repeatable design. They look great. You get a little bit of white contrasting very well with the grey surrounding it, and it's not too hard to do. So very, very important that the windows are quite easy to make, just like this. We're going to place quartz slabs in front of the tops of the front of the porch. What that means is just like a long horizontal row of quartz slabs across the top of the porch like so. We're going to extend this quartz slab inwards and then up, in, up, in, up, in, up, like that. So you can see how that joins to this portion. We're going to be placing rows of blocks of quartz and rows of quartz slabs across the top of the porch like this. So this is going to create the overhang above the entrance. Very, very important. Not only does it contrast greatly against the grey concrete, it looks nice as a feature. So very, very important things. So you can see, doesn't that look really cool now? Way, way, way better than just like a big blank entrance. In addition to this, we're going to create some more windows. The windows are going to sit just above the quartz slab blocks, and we're going to have about 3 of them, okay? So window number 1 is where, actually, you know what, even easier, where we had the glass pane up above us, we're going to have windows down below, because it just looks good this way. So just above where the quartz slabs are, we're going to have 3 separate windows like this. And the best way to measure them out is just, they are literally just below where the glass is above us. So very, very easy to find the positionings of those. Above the windows, joining to the right side of the house, is where we're going to have a long row of quartz stairs. So that row of quartz stairs there is going to extend across and join upwards to there. So we'll place the andesite up here. And by the way, at the very tippity-top is where the quartz stairs are going to be as well. So like right here, I think that we're going to have a row of quartz stairs. So like for instance, this joins all the way over to this left side here, or the right side as it is. We're going to have quartz stairs to accent the top of the building. So it's almost as if we are building it in certain shapes, so like certain quadrants, and we have the quartz stairs hanging over the end as well. So just a little bit like that. You can kind of see, right, how the roof is going to go. So we also have to kind of like determine this little roof here, which is a bit weird, to be honest with you. So we want to be able to fully see the quartz, the glass pane here. So we're going to place a row of quartz slabs extending directly across the grey concrete and the white concrete, and the grey concrete in the white glass area. We're going to extend the quartz slabs overhanging like this and forwards, just like that. And then we're going to extend the original row upwards a row, which is difficult to do, by the way, because you have to individually place them. You can't like just do it all in like one go. And then we're going to extend the slabs backwards again, just like this. Perfect. And then we're going to extend up again. And then I think we're going to just do backwards again. And this will all we'll join that properly once we have the rest of the roof. But you can see how that looks quite cool, doesn't it? I really, really love that. I think that looks fantastic. Next step, ladies and gentlemen, is to come all the way over to this big empty space on the house. As a matter of fact, I think that this is the last wall that actually needs filling in. We're going to begin by placing a row of grey concrete connecting the bottom of this area together. And then we're just going to completely fill it in, because I feel as though it will actually just be a lot easier than trying to build the windows in ourselves. So let's just fill it all in using a little bit of grey concrete like this. And I think that we're going to add another row of grey concrete directly on top of it as well. So just to make it a tad bit higher, and you'll see why later on. So that'll involve just destroying the stair here, but that's perfectly fine, don't worry about it. So what we want to do with this area, now that it's just been raised up by one, is we want to place quartz slabs on the ends of the area. We want to extend the quartz slabs inwards or towards us by one, so it's overhanging the front of the build. And then we want to extend the quartz slabs upwards and inwards on both sides until you eventually reach some sort of a joint. So it'll eventually look, that's perfect. Okay, so a double right in the middle like this. What we can then do is fill the center of this in using some grey concrete. You only have to fill the showing blocks like this, and that will give you a much better shape for the front of this house. This particular part has loads of windows in it, loads. So we start all the way down at the bottom left hand corner, we move up and to the right, and we destroy 2 blocks. So this is all the way down at the bottom, come up diagonally to the right by 1, destroy 2 blocks. Gap of 1, destroy 2. Gap of 1, destroy 2. We destroy 2 rows directly above as well. You guys might be able to see what's coming. And then we place the windows that we have been placing pretty much everywhere else in these positions. Now this is going to be a bit different because we're actually going to decorate it with a little bit of flowerage and stuff later on. But we want to have 3 windows right there along the bottom. So now that we have this bottom set of windows, I want you to simply leave a gap of 2 above these windows, and I want you to recreate them. So leave a gap of 2 above all 3 of the windows that we've made, and we will make them a little bit fancier later on. We'll add some like plant life and stuff, but we're going to do that once all of the major construction of the house is complete. So we're going to have a set of windows that looks exactly like that. It actually looks a little bit weird because I know what all this area is supposed to look like. It actually looks a little bit weird like that, but ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, we have done a massive chunk of the house now. Other than adding nice little bits of detail, perhaps like adding garden and adding things underneath windows and things like that, we have just one major project left to do, and I'm going to let you guess what that's going to be. It's the roof. So the roof is, as I mentioned, it's probably one of the harder parts of this tutorial, but we've actually been doing a good job of building it as we've been going along. We're going to begin by connecting the large andesite rows that are on the front of the build. So the large long rows that span the entire width of the roof, we're going to use the andesite stairs like this. So the andesite stairs are going to make up the middle part of the roof. For the most part, of course, there are outliers in the roof. There are different circumstances where we're not going to be using andesite, but for a large majority of the middle part of the roof, it's andesite. It basically is to stop us just using quartz, because that's what I was tempted to do when I first made this. I said to myself, I'm not going to make a roof that is just entirely quartz. As good as I think that might look, I thought that I wanted a contrast material, and I was right. I think that this is actually quite a nice contrast. So once you've placed all of the andesite, you'll notice that you'll actually have a slight little gap with this like little overhang part of the build here. So I'm just going to add, can we destroy this block? Oh, perfect. So we're just going to add some grey concrete blocks here, just to kind of like fill in any empty spaces, and you'll be able to appreciate it from the outside. You'll be able to see that that particular part of the house is actually like nice and sealed up. Well, now that we've placed the andesite, we are going to extend the quartz slab part of the roof, which is on the front here. We're going to extend all of the quartz blocks. I'm using quartz blocks where possible, and the quartz slabs back, and we're joining it into the rest of the roof. So I'm just destroying any andesite stairs that get in the way, like this. And I'm just joining all of the quartz slabs as well. So like the slabs will get to here, and I reckon we'll turn that into a solid block of quartz. Oftentimes it's better than retaining the actual like here, like we'll turn this into, well, that's andesite. Yeah, that's fine as andesite actually. Sometimes you're going to kind of like look at yourself and you're going to think like, what would actually be better here? Would it be better to add some quartz slabs? Would it be better to turn it into a block? Would it be better to keep the andesite? And all of those are kind of like individual choices. So you can see I'm trying my best to kind of like blend it together here. So wherever it connects to a stair, I'm quite happy. I think that I'll just leave the andesite stair, but like for instance on this right side, like that's better as a block. I think that's better as just like a solid block. The overhanging quartz stairs I'm going to turn into upside down quartz stairs. So or I'm going to place upside down quartz stairs underneath them, just because it looks a little bit cleaner. I think that the roof looks just fine like that. I think that that's looking pretty good. So that's the entire front part of the roof complete, except for this little, for the overhang part here as well. You can see how this all connects together very cleanly. I think that we have, because we've done such a great job of placing it as we've been going along, this actually isn't going to be anywhere near as bad as I thought it might. So yeah, the sides of the roof are all done. Look guys, the only thing that we have to do, and this is actually quite an easy part, we just have to join this part of the roof together. So what I mean by this part of the roof is we have to just join the entire back together, which is pretty much just polished andesite stairs. You'll find that despite the fact that it might not look like it, the roof will actually just connect together majoritively left to right. So there are a couple of instances on the back as well where you might say to yourself, do I want this patch to be just completely like, do I want more specific parts of the roof that are just quartz? Do I want more specific parts of the roof that are just this and that? We also have to add a divider in between the balcony. So now that we've gotten to here, right, ladies and gentlemen, we obviously want to have a wall here where the balcony is. So I think I'm going to raise up some grey concrete that are about as high as the grey concrete road that we just have on this other side, about here. I think probably something like that, and then that'll allow us to place the andesite stairs. I'm going to start from this side, so that'll allow us to place the andesite stairs, and it will join across almost to this wall. We'll clean it up once we've actually done the roof, but as a matter of fact, me saying that we're going to have to like make some special changes to the roof, I don't think that that is actually going to be the case at all. I think that we're actually going to be good. I don't know. I think that we're going to make the porch roof here. I think we're going to make this just quartz. So like just the area like where the porch is, and just like in front of the balcony, I think I'm going to keep that quartz like this, right? And then yeah, that's perfect. And then the rest of it can just be andesite. We could even make it so that this entire bottom half was like andesite, but this, you know what, this really does come down now to a personal choice. This comes down to the fact of like, oh, do I like this better than this? Do I want this better than that? You know, it's going to be a bit of a personal choice there. But I actually quite like the roof how it is there. I think that that looks fine. What you could even do, as I mentioned, is you could cut the roof in half. So if you wanted to, say, starting here, if you wanted to, this, place that, and then that. There we go. This is where you could, if you wanted to, cut off the roof. So like that could be the andesite part, and then you could make this entire lower half quartz. And that might look better to you. And as a matter of fact, let's give it a go. Let me show you. So this is what the roof looks like now. And this is what it looks like completely washed with quartz. I mean, we've still kept that upper half for contrast, but the lower half is quartz now. I'll leave that up to you to decide. Which do you think looks better? It's either this version or the version that we just had before. I do just want to clean up this area a little bit. So I think I'm going to get rid of this grey concrete wall here. And I think I'm just going to turn this into just straight up. Could I actually? Okay, so what if I extend the quartz stairs in a bit like this? Come on. There we go. And then here, here, and then here. There. Ah, that looks way cleaner. That looks way better. Okay, that looks good, right? There we go. So that's like the edge of the balcony taken care of. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe it. We've actually done like the entire structure of the house. This is a massive, ultimate suburban house that we have actually put together. Everything is pretty much done except for just making it a bit homey. So here are some materials that we might want to grab just to make it look a tad bit nicer. And all of these are optional, ladies and gentlemen. I want to point this out. All of these are optional. So we're going to use some quartz stairs, some quartz slabs, some grass blocks, some oak trapdoors, some oak leaves, some tulips. You can use any flower though. Some lanterns, some light grey concrete, and some brick blocks. So what we're going to do with all of this? Well, first of all, I want to add the flower boxes underneath this top set of windows on the front of the house. So I'm going to add some grass blocks in front of where the upside down quartz stairs are. You can use dirt as well if you don't have grass blocks. We're going to place upside down quartz stairs in between them, coming all the way to the side, and then some quartz slabs underneath. We're going to stick some oak trapdoors in front of the grass like this, and then we're going to just fill them up with flowers. Any flowers will do. We're going to place lanterns in between the middle set, and I think that that really does just accent the front of the house quite a bit. I really like how that looks. Well, not only that, just a bit further down below, just to kind of create a different shape, we're going to place a set of grass or dirt just underneath the bottom set of windows, just below where we were. We're going to place another set of grass, one row shorter than on previous sides. We're going to place some oak leaves around it, like this, or any leaves, jungle leaves, any sort of leaves like this. And we're going to create a little bit of a step using some quartz slab, and then you can fill these in with white to any flower, any sort of whatever you want to do. I think looks really cool. So it just kind of gives like a rounded shape at the bottom. It adds some color. It makes it so that it's just not like a big boring portion of the house. In addition to this, another place where this can benefit is just on this corner here, because we've kind of got a nice curve shape where the balcony is, so we can create kind of like a similar curve just down below using some flower beds. So something like this, just give it a bit of a curve, and we can place some, say, quartz slabs around it, and then you could put, say, some like bushes in the corner, and then you could add some like, you know, some flowers around it, something like that, just to maintain that kind of like nice shape that we've got. I really like that. You can build up some bushes on the side of the house as well. These can be in any variety if you want. Make sure that you're not going to do them too high, especially if you do plan on building some like windows in and stuff like that. But you know, something like that would look just fine, and then imagine some windows and stuff, and you know, things of that sort of nature, just to make it look a little bit better. I do have plans for the rest of the house, ladies and gentlemen. I do have plans for what you can do to the rest of the house. So now we've added a little bit of green to the house. We've changed the shape of it a little bit. We've made it look a bit nicer. The next thing that I want to do to the house is I want to add a solid boundary around the house. So that's going to be easy to do. We're going to use a mixture of brick blocks and some oak leaves. And we are simply going to add a very lazy wall all the way around the house, and it's going to look like this, right? I'm going to build it all the way until we get to the corner. The wall, I call it lazy because it's basically snaking in and out, and when it gets to the corner, we kind of want to have a rounded shape, okay? So if you can imagine, the wall looks very much like this. It's made out of brick blocks. It comes in, it jolts out, it jolts in, it jolts out, and all the while you want to place a few random. Whenever the brick wall kind of like goes in or out a little bit, just place a brick or so, every so often against the wall. Place some leaves in between or on top of the actual bricks themselves. It's such an easy wall to make, it doesn't take too much effort whatsoever. And you can even, if you want, place a sea lantern or it's not a sea lantern, although Minecraft thinks it is, a regular lantern just placed on top of the wall every so often as well if you like. So if you can imagine that just all the way around the house. So this is what the area will look like once you have established a firm boundary around the house. Obviously you can make this larger or smaller depending on what sort of garden ideas you have for your house, but I'm keeping it simple for myself. Small back garden, reasonable sized front garden, it's got bricks, it's got leaves, and it's got some lanterns spread about. Now in addition to these things, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to grab the iron bars, birch fence, brick blocks, light grey concrete, oak leaves, some flowers, some grass blocks, some lanterns, and some rose bushes, or any double high bushes will do. And here's the reason why. So I'm going to create a driveway. This is going to lead from one end of the garage all the way to the wall on the front of the house that we've created, and it's going to lead from the other end of the garage all the way to the wall that we have created. Now, I think I did just make a slight boo-boo in the fact that I think that the driveway should start from where the garage doors are. So we'll just bring that one row inwards, but that's fine, we can replace that later. So the driveway is actually going to be made out of light grey concrete. So it's going to go from one end of the garage all the way over to the other end of the garage, and it's going to pop out the front like this. And let me just fill this in with grass block, just to represent that a bit better. Now I'm also going to just destroy the wall, of course, where the driveway is going to go. And I'm just going to bring in the wall on this right side where I accidentally destroyed. And I'm going to have like a little gate situation. So the gate can be made out of a couple of different things, but I'm going to grab a couple of brick blocks. I'm just going to extend this in a bit. I'm going to destroy this white concrete area and the grass behind it, and I'm just going to add a little bit of light grey concrete. And the gate is quite simply, it's going to be made out of iron bars. It's going to be about 3 rows high. We're going to have 2 whole rows of iron, like this. And then we're going to have a row of iron bars that is just one shorter on both sides. And we want to have some brick blocks that sort of rival the height of the gate on the left and right hand side, so that it just gives it something to grip onto. You can even place like a couple of lanterns just like left and right to highlight the area if you want. We're going to have a couple of rows of birch fence, just because they kind of look like gate openers, and that's kind of like where the entrance of the gate is. So it's like literally like that's where the gate is. It lines up perfectly with the garages that we have there, or the garages. In addition to this, I'm actually going to have like a brick block path that kind of leads you to the front of the house. And it's just going to kind of like be what I would refer to as a sloppy brick block path. And I just want it to kind of like, it just takes you to the front of the house. It doesn't have to look that fancy. It's going to be about 4 or so blocks wide, because that's also the width of the entrance like this. And I just want to kind of like line up where these things are going to go, and then I'll show you how it'll all look. So if you can imagine like all of this dug out, we've kind of got the gates already set up for us, but like if you imagine this dug out and replaced with all the materials, it'll really look good. There we go, that's looking good. So now that we have a wall sorted out, ladies and gentlemen, we have a nice established area that we can add some details to. Now, you don't have to add any of these details that I am going to show you right now, but here are a couple of suggestions how you can fill up the remaining space of the house, but do feel free to add your own if you feel as though that you can do a better job, which I wouldn't dispute, you probably can. Let's take a look. The first detail that I would recommend adding to the grounds of your house is in the front left-hand side of the grounds. I'd recommend adding a tree or some large vegetation, some sort of plant life or something organic to this particular area of the house, just to add a bit more green, a bit more colour. Maybe a tree kind of like how I have here with a bench, or maybe a swing chair or something simple. You don't have to go complicated with it, as you can see. I'd also recommend adding a bit of a path around the area if you do make some sort of landmark out of it, just because it will kind of give a bit of a different shape, add a kind of a curved path, and it also lets people know that it is an area of interest. If you have any blank walls around the house that you're not particularly happy with, you can build them up with vegetation such as leaves or flowers or anything that you really want that's a bit of a different colour from the house. I'd recommend organic every time, just because it's a stark contrast to the concrete. I'd even say the same about this area in the back of the house. It's not really big enough to do too much with, but just some wild flowers and some tall grass really does just make the area look a bit more interesting without having to put too much effort into it. Now, around the back of the house, I would highly recommend adding something of purpose. So this is in the back right hand corner side of the grounds. I have chose to add a barbecue area. So we have a small patch of light grey concrete that is connected to the porch using some bricks. Against the house we have some trees and we have a bench, but for the barbecue area we have a couple of seats and we have a table with some glasses. We could even make that bigger, and we have a barbecue area. It's a very, very simple design, but it just does make this entire area purposeful. It's not just a random part of the house. Now it looks great, it serves a function, and it's easy to make, and it's just dead simple. It's such an easy change to make it look so much better. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. There really isn't anything else to show you. We have covered the entire construction of the house, the entire construction of the grounds. Do feel free to add your own bits of detail here and there and everywhere. Please treat this house as your own, because it is your own. Just because I've done something doesn't mean that you have to. And once you have finished work on your house, you should hopefully be looking at something that looks very similar to this. It may not exactly be the same, because we might have a slightly different wall setup. You may have chose to add windows where I didn't, or vice versa. And you may have chose to add something else where I haven't. But we should roughly have the exact same build, and I've got to tell you, I'm very happy with this. And I hope that you guys are as well. If you are new around here, please do consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all of my videos sent directly to your sub box. Not only that, if you would like to make some other builds by me, whether they be city, suburban, modern, any kind of sort of builds. We make all sorts of stuff around here, ladies and gentlemen, trust me. Check out the card system, description below in the top of the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I appreciate all of you very much. I love you all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.